Did you ever have body issues?
Oh, 1,000%. I didn't have eating disorders, but body dysmorphia, yes.
Do you think once you have body dysmorphia, you ever get rid of body dysmorphia?
I think it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I still have I have major tendencies.
I had anorexia for a very long time. I'm healthier now, but I don't know, it's like an abusive,
or an addict.
An addict. An addict.
Join me, Sasha Pieterse, on Women in the Nude, Season 2, where we bear it all except for our bodies. Leave that to your imagination. Welcome to Women in the Nude. I've got Laura Quinn here and a sweet little Pepper.
Oh my God.
This is the first dog that we've had on camera, and I am so excited. We are big animal lovers here. Dogs are here all the time, but Pepper is the first doggy featured, and I'm so excited. So Laura is my Pilates instructor, but she is so much more than that. You are one of the coolest people that I know. You are just warm and funny and sarcastic. We were on our the same level. We just immediately connected, and I'm so thankful for you. And Pepper is just the highlight as well of every workout. It's just
my whole heart.
The best. But Lucy, Hale, and I go to Aloe. But more importantly, we see you. And I'm just so glad that we met. And you have so much to offer the world, so much to offer women. And I just think you're the coolest. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm going to cry.
Feel free.
You're going to make me cry.
Feel free.
Right off the bat.
I do that all the time.
That was really nice.
Oh,
thank you.
I mean every word.
I feel the same way. So thank you.
I have anxiety at gyms because I go there to sweat.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I feel in our industry, everybody looks so pretty all the time.
You're one of them.
And
you are.
Debatable. But and I will give a shout out to Aloe because it is a very incredible facility and everything is just so cool there. But you just made me feel so welcome and comfortable. But then on top of it, you're just a really great friend, which is a really nice addition. So thank you for that. I have so many things to ask you.
An interview over.
Right?
I feel great.
What's hard about having friends on the show is that I feel we talk about everything all the time. So
I know.
What do we bring onto the show that we haven't spoken about already?
I know.
But let's see, where to begin? You are an incredible dancer. Yeah. And my parents were dancers. And so I grew up in a version of that world. And it's a fascinating industry specifically for women.
Yes.
So if you wouldn't mind talking about your journey from dancer. Well, I know you still obviously perform, but
I don't actually really perform anymore.
You do. Okay.
Yes. But it's
a different version.
It's a different version. Yes. But yeah, I love that we have that connection too. I love that anyone that's been a dancer has grown up in the dance world at a studio, any involvement in dance, I feel kind of just gets it.
Yeah.
But I grew up, I'm dyslexic. Okay. So I was put into a school when I was put into a school sounds weird. I went to a school for dyslexia in first grade and literally knew nothing about the arts. And that was one of the main things they focused on.
That's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
We put on these crazy plays, and it was my first introduction to dance and the arts, and I cannot sing to save my life. It's terrible, terrible, terrible.
I feel you're good at so many things. I find that hard to believe, but I'll let you continue.
No. Just trust me on that. I always say if you've seen my best friend's wedding, Cameron Diaz, that's me trying to sing. So I'm really cannot hold a tune, but I had dance ability and I fell in love with it in first grade, and then it kind of kicked it off, and then I just started growing more and more in that world of it. And then I just became obsessed. And then I have a little bit of OCD in there. So went to studios and then went to a performing arts high school. And my high school I went to, actually, it's crazy because I always say it's was such a cool experience, my world that I never would have had if I wasn't dyslexic. But I went to a high school where Jada Pinkett Smith and Tupac went to.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
In the inner city of Baltimore, and it was just really cool experience. And we would dance 4 hours a day and then do academics for 4 hours a day. So being dyslexic, it was this is great.
That is really, really cool. What a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
Your parents in that, how did how did they find that school? Was it just recommended to them, or?
You know what? That's a really good question that I probably should know. So the school is called Genesee, and it is one of the biggest well-known schools for dyslexia. There's a lot more now. I don't think my parents had any idea about any of this.
Okay.
And so I think they kind of probably at that time just asked around, and it wasn't as known back then.
Yeah.
We lived in a place in Baltimore that was 10 minutes away from this school, luckily.
So nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was all just asking luck, right time, right place. I don't know. But it was those were the coolest 8 years of my entire life.
I so wish that for like the majority of our school system. Like thinking of like being a mom.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lucky experience as well, which was just basically my mom sacrificing her career to homeschool me so that I could be in the business.
Yeah.
But she really went for like making sure that we were like doing things that I was interested in, and making sure that like arts were involved, and like catering to what I needed for, you know, the business. And that's obviously most people don't get that experience.
No. But your mom had a job and then left her job to help you pursue?
So when we immigrated from South Africa to Nevada, to the States, they were just going to keep dancing. So they were a specialty act. And
that's so cool.
I mean, I had such a cool childhood because of that. Like I traveled with them. I lived in France for a year, went to a French English school. And we just, you know, we were nomadic, which is definitely what I do now. That carried on into my adult life. But yeah, it kind of took them on a detour. I kind of got into the industry by accident, and my dad decided to get a regular job, and my mom became a stay-at-home mom / teacher and was driving me to and from auditions. And so many people don't get that opportunity. So definitely grateful for that. I have a friend from high school that was dyslexic and had a miserable time with school.
It's hard.
And I remember him like confiding in me about his dyslexia. And I would never have even known that he was dealing with that.
Yeah.
I thought he was just kind of this like kid with dark humor, that like his sarcasm was just, you know, self-deprecating and whatever. But there was a lot of pain there, and he had no resources for that. And it really, really like messed up that experience in his young adult life, which sucks.
It sucks. Well, and it's crazy because like you can only do what you can do, and your parents can only do what they can do.
Right.
And it's like, it's nobody's fault, but it's like, I got lucky that the school was so close to me, that my parents figured it out, that they could afford, it's not cheap. Like,
right.
It's like.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm the middle, and I'm a typical middle child. But no, it's hard. And it's like, those are such development years too.
Yeah.
That it's like your friend might have been called dumb in school, but wasn't dumb. He just needed to learn differently.
Right. And that's what I like hope for Hendrix. So same thing. Like right now, at least for like the first couple of years when he starts school, we will need to homeschool him because we don't stay in one place.
Yeah.
And he's either going to have to be pulled out of school all the time, or we can give him the best education that he can possibly get catered to him, which we know is definitely a privilege. And I know that it's possible because, you know, I had that experience. But yeah, I wish every kid could get an education based on what's best for them. People would be so much, you know, better off. The world would be different.
It would be life-changing.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's so cool that he'll get different experience. Like, some people will get the school and the friends and the this, and he's going to get these worldly life experiences of traveling. And some people never leave their state. It's like, there's like, I feel like
pros and cons.
With everything in life. And that's what you learn. Like,
so my Hudson was also homeschooled, and he had a very bad experience with it. And so, you know, us forming a family, like, you know, were we going to homeschool or you're not going to homeschool is one of those things. But because I had a good experience, like, it's all going to be okay, sort of a thing. And
you can always bet, and you can always be like, okay, game change. Like, let's change it up.
So my thing is, if he gets really into sports,
you know,
what do you call it, club can only take you so far. Like if he wants to like be a football player, which that terrifies me, but at some point, you know, he's going to have to be somewhere more stationary, and we're going to have to like commit to a place more than we
but you'll do what your mom did and figure it out.
But we will do what it, you know, needs to happen, and we'll figure it out, whatever is best for him. But yeah, you do. You just kind of like play it by ear, do the best that you can. But I'm so excited that like that was your experience. I'm so glad
I'm grateful
you got that experience. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because I know it could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that way, because I'm sure you develop in different ways. But I was made to feel very smart and like artistic, whereas
you were empowered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas like I remember being in first grade before I changed schools. And every time like they'd be like, all right, we're going to read. I'd be like, I have to go to the bathroom. And like, because I didn't want to read out loud because I knew I'd like stutter or like be like slower than other kids. And
did you get made fun of? Like, were there kids even at that age? No,
because I changed schools so fast.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like, I got very lucky.
Yeah.
And I also was very smart and went to the bathroom when I needed to.
Yeah.
Had to go to the bathroom a lot, you know?
Yeah, at that age, you knew. Yeah, because kids are mean.
Kids can be really mean.
Yeah, they also can be great, and they're just curious. But like Hendrix is at the age where he is such a friendly, outgoing kid. But kids naturally just point out things that they don't know. It's not, a lot of the times, especially at his age, he's 4, it's not malicious.
No. It's my favorite part about kids.
Right. And so often it's also very funny.
Yes.
But at the park the other day, he pointed out this girl's, her braces. And I think it seemed like she was self-conscious about it. I think she was like 9 or 10. And I was like, oh, like he just never seen braces before.
Yeah.
And he wasn't mean about it. He was just like, what are those? And you could tell she was like, you know, she got all
but the funny thing is in his head, he probably is like, I want them.
Right.
And she's like, cool. I hate it.
Right. He's all about robots. He's like, ooh, what is that? Metal. What's on your teeth? Yeah. And it's a weird thing to like teach your kid. Like, you can ask me those questions, but, you know, don't point at anybody. Don't like, those are all like, that's different. I always got when I was like from people that disapproved of homeschooling, they'd always be like, well, that sucks for you. Like, you didn't get, like you missed out on your childhood. Like, you didn't get to like go to school. And I was like, no, I didn't get all of the I didn't get, you know,
you didn't come out with all the issues either. Like,
right. I have to deal with like your everyday high school bully. I dealt with it online. It was a different experience, but
you're probably still dealing with it now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You didn't miss out.
And I got to go to all the dances. A lot of my friends weren't in the industry and were, you know.
You got to go to like a prom and stuff?
I didn't get to go to prom, but I went to winter formals. Okay. We had MORPs in our area, which is prom backwards, which is essentially a rave for teenagers, which is
fun.
That's questionable. Yeah. But it was really fun at that time.
We didn't even have all that because we didn't have sports. I went to a performing arts high school, so we had prom. And that was it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I missed out on anything.
I don't think I missed out on anything.
I'm like, also like, I find it funny, like even, you know, with teaching, like I've been teaching 15 years now and lots of one-on-one, and people will be like, you hear that all the time. Like, oh, well, that sucks for this. And I'm like, do you want to ask me how I feel? Because
you're just assuming.
You're assuming, or you're making it what you would want, but we're two different people. So like, how was that experience for you being homeschooled instead of like, that sucks? It's like, maybe that would have sucked for you, but not for me. Like, I'm happy about it. So I just think it's like, let's make it more normal to ask someone how they felt about that experience.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Be nice.
I think ultimately too, it's just, we need to be more empathetic.
Well, yes,
it's
that too.
it's all about, you know, fearing what you don't know. Yeah. And just not actually critically thinking, and just kind of forming assumptions on things that you really have no clue about. But I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. You became a prima ballerina. You didn't just
I did
dance casually.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole different experience.
Crazy. Yeah. Psychological. All that. I went from my performing arts high school and I started auditioning for colleges. And my mom and I would fly to all these different places to audition, which again, very grateful that I could do that.
So cool. Yeah.
And being dyslexic, I was like, I'm not going to go to like a really good, I don't want it to be at bad academics. I'm done. I like left high school and I was like, I never want to take another test in my life.
Right. Like that's not for me. That's not my direction.
No, I'm really people smart, like good with people, terrible with books. I like to learn, but I don't want to be tested on it.
And you don't need to learn that way.
I don't need to learn that way.
Yeah.
And so I would go to these auditions and they'd be like, our goal is to get you into a company. And at the time I got accepted to Miami City Ballet as like an apprentice where you start the, getting into the company life. And me and my mom sat down and I was like, okay, so why would I go to a college to get into a company when like my body right now is like at peak? Like
this is when you should be starting, yeah.
And I was like, and school's not for me. Like, let's be honest.
Right.
So
what is the purpose of that? Yeah.
What's the purpose? So I made the decision and went to Miami and did that life for, I think it was a year or two. I think 2 years max. And it was great. It came with a lot of stuff. Yeah. But I got to live in Miami. It was crazy and interesting. And but I went straight to a ballet company before I came to LA to do the industry.
That is, I mean, in so many ways, really cool.
Yes.
Any of the facial expressions that I'm making come from like what I know of my mom's experience. Yep. She was trained in ballet. She really loved ballet.
Yes.
But there was definitely a toxic element to it.
Yes.
My grandma was very strict and judgmental in certain ways. And my mom really actually fell in love with synchronized swimming. And my grandma took her out of it because her shoulders were getting too big. And so on the flip side, she had her dad, my grandfather, who was a very jolly, great guy, but was also strict in his own ways. And he loved cooking.
Yeah.
And he had a rule that you had to finish everything on your plate. And he would serve you. So she couldn't leave the table without eating everything on her plate, but her mom was looking at everything that she was eating. And so she became bulimic, I think at like 14.
Wow.
I could be wrong on that age, but definitely like young. And, that was like part of her start in the dancing industry. She then went on to do all different types of dance. But ballet can be really incredible and such a good way of learning discipline. And it's so beautiful to watch. And at the same time, the culture is like
hard. Especially then.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have social media or people talking about health and wellness. It was what you look like.
And measuring your waist. And
And it's, no one ever sat me down or, same with your mom. Like maybe her mom was hard on her, but like no one ever sat you down and was like, hey, you need to lose weight, but they'd partner you with boys and you couldn't be picked up. Or like I went to Kirov Academy one summer and we weren't allowed food in our dorms. And they'd feed a certain food and if you didn't like it, you didn't eat it. And then once you lose weight, it's hard because you feel better about certain things and aspects of the dance world.
Then you're getting praise and people are like, commenting
so
on how amazing
yes.
you're. Look how light you are, all the things. Yeah.
And it's hard. I'm sure your mom, can talk on this too, but like it's hard to come back from once you lose the weight and it feels a certain way.
Right.
And then you all of a sudden have body dysmorphia that is like, I'm still working on to this day.
Yeah.
But I came back one summer from Kirov and I had lost, I don't know because I didn't weigh myself back then. I was young. I was in high school, like probably around 14, 15. And I probably lost, I was tiny. Like I'm a tiny human in general.
Just generally.
But I lost 10 to 15 pounds easily. And I came back and I didn't even know. And like I remember my parents' reaction and, my family but I liked it. I liked the way my clothes fit, and I liked the way a leotard and tights is rough.
Yeah.
And especially when they're like, oh, you're going to wear a red leotard in this whatever, in this class, or you're going to wear pink. It's like pink tights and a pink leotard. Like
it's not the most flattering on,
And then like, they're telling you to like lift up out of your hips and you're like, oh, I'm fat. My stomach's out. It's not even that. It's like you're not engaging your core, but no one's teaching you how to engage your core.
And nobody's teaching you the healthy way to think about it either.
No, or the healthy way to do it.
Yeah.
So you're like, gotta lose weight. And then you get in a spiral and then you're with doctors all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden it just spiraled out and you're like,
how did I get to this point?
I never had body dysmorphia until then. And then it's hard.
Now, how did you transfer into Pilates? Because Pilates is so incredible. It's helped me so much on my PCOS journey. And it's really about strength.
PCOS is a whole nother
Yeah,
ballgame for women.
Yeah.
So it was actually, so I was in the industry for like 15 years. It's been a long time I've been out here. And then COVID hit. And I never, honestly, our whole lives, I don't know about you, acting is a little different because you can kind of develop into different older characters, younger characters, moms, this. With dance, it's like everyone tells you like, what are you going to do after? What are you going to do after?
Time limit. You age out.
You age out. And it's like, I always, to be honest, and I know this is not for everyone, I hate 5-year, 10-year plans because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I have terrible anxiety. I'm like thinking about what's going to be in 5 years and not reaching that, or it's just too much for me. So I'm like, I want to live in today. I want to live in this week, and then I'll worry about next week.
Yeah.
And that works for me. That doesn't work for everyone, but
Unnecessary pressure to really do it any other way.
also, like, if you ask me, I thought I'd be married with kids by now, and it's not where I'm at.
Life
so
is,
and I'm not unhappy. So it's like, yeah. But so I was in the industry, and then COVID hit, and I was at home, and I already had started working at some fitness studios just for fun because I like to move my body and I like to learn. Yeah. Which is funny. I said I'd never take a test again, and then I went and took like my pre and postnatal, my NASM, my yoga. I was like obsessed with it all of a sudden. So I was like,
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
When you want to learn, it's different.
Right. And especially when it's like geared to something that you're excited about
and passionate about.
Yeah. You're like, you don't need to learn, trigonometry. You want to learn, about the body.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I started teaching at Body by Simone before COVID. And I loved it. And then I was starting in-home trainings and just like dabble, but I was still in the industry very much so. And then COVID hit, and I was like, just started doing privates, like fitness privates. A little bit of ballet. I hated teaching ballet online. I love ballet.
Online. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. How are you supposed to even do that?
And it was just like, it was hard. You could do it. I did not like it. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm not enjoying this. But fitness, I could still like
really
counteract
it. Like you can't. They're watching you, basically, and
I'm like trying to dissect them. Yes, like lift up here, and I'm like, oh my, it's so frustrating. So I just like kind of started just doing fitness, and then all of a sudden I like was like, okay, and then Pilates started becoming more and more of a thing during that.
Yeah.
And I'd reach out to a studio, and I was like, hey, where'd you get certified? They were like, this is where I got certified. And then they were like, we're also looking for instructors. And I was like, I'll come in and get interviewed and go get certified and do all the things. Went in and got interviewed, and like a week later or so, my certification, I'm teaching, there I am. Like, I was like, oh, I had already had like all these other certifications, and I was like, it was a pretty natural transition, but also I was like, okay. And then everyone always says right place, right time, right people, right? Yeah. I met someone, and then I was like kind of talking to this boy and met someone else through him. And then this person was working with Aloe. This person worked at Aloe, was doing a job at Aloe with this person, not even for Aloe. And then they were looking for an instructor, and it was like,
perfect. Yeah.
There we go.
You have the perfect temperament for it.
Thank you. I don't know about that all the time. Thank you.
What you project.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the perfect temperament for so many reasons. But like, I know, I've been to Pilates classes where I'm like, this person does not know what they're doing, or they've given like too heavy of a weight, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so helpful with your background because you know how your body feels so intimately, that I feel like ballet and dance is such an easy transition into like what makes Pilates so effective. I love seeing like football players try, athletes try.
Oh, it's so good.
Male athletes try Pilates. Is just so funny because
it's those little muscles, that
you don't normally use. But it really is. It's just such a great outlet. And my endocrinologist is what she recommended Pilates because of all of those reasons.
It's not going to stress out your body, but you're also going to get the burn. It's
that low impact workout where you're still sweating. Yeah, you still definitely get to the point
and you're shaking, you're sweating. Mm-hmm. The craziest thing is it's very natural to me because nothing was natural to me in dance. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Like I would always, and this is like a good lesson in life that like you get older and you get wiser, they say. But like as a child, you're always like, oh, I wish I had their flexibility, or like I wish I had their natural this, or I have to work so much harder.
Yeah.
And it's like I did have to work harder. I am not flexible naturally at all. I am now.
I mean,
I am not.
I believe you. That surprises me just because, yeah, exactly. You are now. I'm meeting you at this stage.
Teacher, when I was in like first grade, like she would have to like push me down and sit on me and hold me, and I'd be like shaking and like it hurt. And like she did it in a healthy way. It was good. Like, but like I was never the flexible kid, always the kid that stayed late, working harder than everyone else and still had to work harder to get the part. Like, nothing was natural to me, which back then I was like, I never was like a victim, but I was always like, this is annoying that she comes in and can just, and I was like, I'm going to get there, but I'm not there. And then later in life, now it's like full 180 circle where it's like, now I'm training people and I know how to get you there. And I actually know that you can get there if you want to.
You have that empathy, which you might not have gained.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah. And also, I mean, generally speaking, I feel like the people that need to work harder at something are the ones that end up being more skilled in it anyway.
Because you understand.
And and you don't take it for granted and you know, all of those things that come with it.
I mean, you get it as an actress, like being on set, like the people that have to work a little bit harder are more grateful and also probably, hopefully did all the work prior to like be prepared to be there.
Yeah.
More so maybe.
And yes, absolutely. And I think also the more life experience you have, the more you have to pull from characters, right? Or for characters.
True.
Yeah. There's definitely that aspect to it.
Is that why LA's so wild?
Yes.
Everyone's just trying to get experiences.
Right, exactly. Well, let's move into that. LA is a wild place.
LA is a wild place.
Are you glad that you're here?
I feel mixed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you know I do.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's why I think, like, we connected right away. Like, I feel like we have the same opinions on it. LA is amazing. There's so many amazing things about this city. But LA is also, like, we are our own world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we are in a bubble. We are in our own little universe out here. Like, and I personally have to leave LA a lot to, like, ground myself. And not that I'm not grounded, but, like, to breathe.
Yeah, it's to take a breath and also to remind yourself, like, even though you know it, that the rest of the world is not like this.
Yeah.
And the same rules don't apply to everybody everywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, and I need that grounding. Like, I think we all do. Like, I think you are who you surround yourself with. And luckily, like, I have the most incredible
people,
yes. But at the same time, like, yeah, I love LA. I can't, like, on LA. Sorry, I don't know a better word to use. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But I've been out here for so long. But at the same time, like, I grew up on a farm and I miss that too. And I wish my family was here for sure. Like, that's the one piece that's missing all the time for me. And I wish dating was a little easier out here. But
I do not envy that at all.
It's bad.
I
know I'm supposed to be positive. There's great people everywhere.
No, we can be super negative on here too. We can have a positive,
dating in LA sucks.
Finish. Yeah, but don't worry about being negative. Yeah, this is where we get it out.
It's realistic more than negative.
Well, and this is how people know that they're not alone.
You're not alone if dating sucks. You're not alone.
Absolutely. I couldn't, especially in LA. Like, I always had the policy before I started dating my husband that I wouldn't date anybody in the industry.
Did you never?
Well, I guess technically he is in the industry, but like he was in production and his dad was a set builder. And so like he knew the industry in a way that like he wasn't an actor.
Yeah. You never dated an actor?
Never dated an actor.
I did.
This is a generalization. And I also know lovely actors who are my good friends.
And I wouldn't not date one again.
Overall,
I'm not trying to.
So annoying and so insecure and so they get like, demasculated by the stupid and what is demasculated? That sounds so wrong saying it out loud. Is that correct? Emasculated. I was like, I know it's wrong.
Both of us are like,
by the dumbest things. Yeah. It's a hard environment to be in.
It's also self-consuming, and that's why I have to leave LA, but I'm not even in front of the camera. Like,
but you are surrounded by people that are just in general in the public eye, not even just actors.
And I don't wish that on anyone. Like, here's the thing. I think if you want to be an actor and you want to do this stuff, it does come with it. But like, that's rough. Social media is rough. Like, for anyone. I don't care if you're loved on it or not loved on it or loved sometimes, because it's an up and down. It's never stay on top. Like, I have compassion for people, but it's harder even dating someone with that.
Oh, 1,000%. I have so many mixed emotions about that because I agree, because it is hard. And I would never, it's really rough. There are so many opinions out there. There's a lot of negativity when it comes to just, how people think in general, but how, what they think about you or how they connect you to a role and think that you're a certain way, even though you're a separate person. I mean, I could go on.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, infinite things.
I'm not going to lie, I probably have done that. In my head, at least, to people.
But it's also, like, on the flip side of it, of course you have. Yeah. Because it's super hard to separate. And in so many ways, like, if you love a character, you kind of want them to be that way in person. So 100%. It's not always a negative.
Yeah. Just don't meet them in person.
Right, exactly.
Keep it in your head.
I still have that. Like, don't meet your idols. Like, there's still certain people where I'm like, maybe I don't want to meet you.
And even if you do and they're lovely, it's still, they come down to your level.
Right. Like, they're just, they will inevitably be different. And I mean, there's so many layers there. But I am also on the side of, you as an actor, well, and even an influencer, like, you still chose this.
100%.
You might not have wanted the negativity, and it's not okay to have all of that negative energy. However, I'd be hard pressed to, like, find somebody who didn't think that it was a possibility that they could.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
you're going to get attention in this industry.
Yeah,
and you kind of want it.
Well. Exactly. So that's the other thing is, like, should your privacy be invaded fully? No. But you should have known that that was bound to happen if you had success.
But you should get a little privacy.
But you should.
Yes.
There should be, ground rules in place. You should be able to set your own boundaries. Yeah. There needs to be a lot of improvement in that space. But also, you knew it was going to come with it.
I know. So I guess I just wish there was less negativity. I guess even me. Okay, I have a very small Instagram compared to most people, and my Instagram is just because I work at Aloe and just because of all this stuff, and I've never really cared about it, if I'm being honest. And I'll just post videos for fun, like on my own time, like doing dance stuff. Like I've been dancing my whole life. Like it's safe for me to do this, and I get ridiculed by Pilates people. Ridiculed.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever gone through I know I comment on you all the time, but I don't think I've actually looked at.
Oh yeah, don't look at it, because I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't understand in life why you don't do you and I do me, and if you don't want to do what I'm doing, that's okay. But I'm good over here.
What's the point? Also, what is the point?
They're like, that's not Pilates, and I'm like, yeah, but guess what? Pilates wasn't Pilates at a certain point. Pilates was created by a human. Yeah. This machine was created by a human that created this weird machine that we have now developed into a new machine and a better machine. And it's but so also, why can't I be creative?
Right. And if you found another way to work a muscle, who gives a You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah. But it's hard because, yes, we are asking for it by putting stuff out there. But I'm also if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And go on with your own life. And do your thing, but it's weird. I don't know. I feel both ways about it all, and I understand it all. But I'm just at a point where I'm life is hard enough. I think we realize that let's love on people, or
just leave them alone. Yep.
It's not that difficult.
1,000% policy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I do think, because I know you agree on this as well, there is definitely something, because I want to clarify this as far as what I was saying with the public eye in the industry. There needs to be, and we're working on it, we're all working on it, but there needs to be a level of respect for people's mental health.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And
not everybody has to be okay all the time.
Yes.
A celebrity or someone in the public eye, still a person.
Yep.
They're not there necessarily for you. And I think that's the thing is we take celebrities as these people that are for us in so many ways. You're there to entertain us. Yeah. But also, they can go and have their own lives and go home and
be a human.
And get depressed sometimes and be really happy sometimes and, do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah, yes.
And be able to protect their mental health.
Yeah.
And there are celebrities out there that are very vocal about that, which is really great.
Agreed.
And I think there's this level of like celebrities feeling or people feeling like celebrities are untouchable to the point where they can say anything to them on social media and they
won't get hurt by
they
it.
won't get hurt, or they think it doesn't matter, or, you know, yeah, it's a really rough environment.
Yeah.
But it can also be used in a way that's really positive, and I think, you know, that's
there's some
what
good to
is.
it.
Yeah, there definitely is. I think even just like Lucy and I talk about this, where we've had an outlet to speak to people all over the world, where like the stuff that we've done has positively impacted them.
It's so cool.
And that is really cool.
It's the best feeling in the world.
It truly is. Yeah.
And help other people.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the things that we were doing on our show were things that they might never have seen before or would never feel represented by. And like we initiated a lot of that stuff on TV, and even just with social media as a whole, they get to see things on another side, or a different side of the world, and in another light where, you know, they might not have access to that around them. So there's a lot of positive things that come from just based on like even just knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, it gets scary with misinformation and all the.
But there is a lot of like, it's so crazy because I've been working with celebrities, influence, whatever you want to like.
Yeah.
Whatever. Individuals for like whether it was dancing behind them in music videos at Millennium, I taught ballet there at everywhere. Like I've been for 15 years, and I like go home to like my hometown, and you know, it's any hometown, you know, it's like very exciting for people. And right now it's all online, but I've been doing this stuff for, I just never posted about it. Like I would train people in ballet. I would train and like the one thing that like when people come up to me like, what is it? And I'm like, first of all, this isn't new for me. Like I've been doing this for a long time. And second of all, like I don't feel excited. Like I don't know how to explain it, but if you crave cake and you eat cake every day, eventually it just isn't as exciting.
Right.
And it is just something, and maybe you won't even choose to eat it anymore. And it's like I get to be around people that are so good at their jobs and in the industry all the time that like when someone walks into my work, I don't even see it anymore.
Right.
And it's like the weirdest thing in the world.
Well, for sure. You're so used to it, but also you're seeing a different side of them that like
I'm seeing a different side, but it's also like,
it's not as glamorous. I mean, the stuff that I talk to you about is not like
I love
glamorous. You know what I mean? We're talking about like the way that we slept last night and the stupid that we heard, and like it's so not
normal. It's just normal conversations.
Exactly. It's
Do you find that too,
different.
though? Like, don't you find like I like thought about this like a couple months ago. I was like, is there anyone that I would meet that like that feeling of like
those butterfly, like that excitement?
And I'm like, I don't, and not in a bad way. Like, I just don't think so. I think like everyone feels human to me at this point in life, which is, I don't know. I think it's really cool because I'm like, let's talk about anything you want, and let's just meet there.
You know what I think is sad is that the majority of like public figures that I come across, I don't like.
Okay.
And that sounds super harsh because there's obviously a lot of amazing people out there, and I can separate. Wow, they are so talented. But then I see the way that they treat somebody, or I see the way that they, you know, go about whatever, and I'm like, it takes. It's not that I hate them by any means, but it takes any sort of like any of those butterflies or any of that, like just takes it away immediately.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten to the point where I don't go into anything hating somebody, but or I try not to. But it's more about like, you know, understanding that person, like those expectations that like when you meet them, they might not be at like what everybody has, you know, talked them up to be. Or opposite, they're better.
Yeah.
Because often you know, people talk a lot of in the industry. So somebody could say all of these nasty things about somebody, and then you meet them and you're like, that doesn't add up. Like that person might have had some other vendetta. What did that person do to that person to like get that reaction? I
stopped listening to all of the noise.
It is so much. There's so much noise.
Like where you meet someone. Because I feel like I've had the complete opposite feeling, but I like literally back to Millennium days when like people would train for ballet roles and I would coach them on it or whatever. Like I've met people in so many where they're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so like most people I meet, it's the most lovely interactions.
That's awesome.
And it's like I'm so grateful, but like people's walls come down. Like I'm not at an event where like it's like to be seen and walk a carpet, because I'm going to be honest, that stuff is very stressful, very anxiety ridden, not bringing out people's best self. Whereas like I'm in there and I'm like, cool, you're getting to train for this role, or I'm getting to like get your body in shape, and it's vulnerable.
Make you stronger,
And like I'm like, let's just talk about anything besides work and industry.
Right.
Like, how'd you grow up? What are your fears? What do you love? Like, what's exciting? Like, I don't know. I also like kind of steer away from the stress of people's lives. And I'm like, I love conversations, and I don't need to talk about work ever in life. So I meet people in different circumstances, and it's like, it's nice.
I think that's a perfect point, because everybody shows different colors. You know what I mean? Depending on the circumstance. And I think there's also this women against women thing that is very prominent in our industry, no matter how much we like pretend that we're lifting other women up. So often it is the opposite. And
but I think that's all industries.
It's all, yes, absolutely. And it's so counterproductive. But, you know, especially with actors or actresses, like going up against each other for same roles, or that whole like frenemy situation where you're right.
When you're comparing not only ability, but looks and this and that. And it's like, it's really, I mean, that's difficult. It's difficult.
It is. It's terrible for your, you know, your mental state. But I see that so often at events where people are so, people are so conscious of what they look like, obviously. And then so closed off.
Yeah.
And you can, if you watch any one person for long enough at an event, you see how calculated everything is.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I got to look a certain way or do a certain thing or introduce myself to a certain person, and it's networking, and it's who you're, you know, want to bump shoulders with. And it's constantly people looking at like the boxes they have to tick when they go somewhere.
Instead of being here, they're like.
Right. Because like, ultimately it's like, let me do a circle, like let me walk the room, let me talk to who I'm going to talk to or need to talk to, and kind of screw everybody else. And like, how do I, you know, talk to that person before this one, or how do I like intercept a conversation, or how do I mean, it's and what happens is you get sucked into that. Like, I was just talking about this the other day. I have the hardest time kissing. I can't do it.
I can't either.
I really cannot do it.
Neither can I.
To a detriment.
Yeah, I know.
You know
what
I mean?
Same.
Or I try and find a way that's like not, you know, gonna like make me lose sleep and like keep my dignity. You know, I have no problem complimenting somebody, and that's usually like the way that I go into it. But like kissing on purpose to get something just like makes me want to vomit. And so so seeing it happen in real time with other people is just.
That's why I avoid most of this stuff. I think the last event I went to, someone invited me, and I wanted to go because I love this person, and they work with that brand, so I wanted to go, and I walked in by myself, which already I don't do things
gives
by
me
myself.
Anxiety. Nope, that gives me terrible anxiety. I can't walk into an event by myself.
So I walked in, I was like, okay, you can do this. I'm so proud. Like also like I go out, maybe I'll meet a guy out. Like, you know, you never know. Walk in and I was like, ugh. And then I saw Lucy and I attached myself.
Like, yep. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be so annoying. And luckily she had a friend with her, and she's like, was the best.
She totally gets all of those things, and like,
and she doesn't
we
care.
all align on that. Yeah. No, she does not care. No.
And so she like, and I was like literally I want to cry. Thank you so much. And then I left. But the worst thing is like, what you don't understand, this is going back to like, you don't know how
somebody
people
else
feel.
is feeling. Yeah.
Like I go home and I spiral. I'm like, oh my God, is Lucy upset I attached myself? Like, and she's not. She was not.
No,
but like, then you're like, did I say the wrong thing to this person? And you're like.
You overthink everything. Everything. Yeah.
And if you have anxiety, like already, you have anxiety on top of that going into this. And it's like, oh my God, like how do I get out of this? Like,
all of the things.
It's so bad.
And for me, what like a lot of what happens to me is because I just have been, you know, people have seen my body change over the years. I have anxiety about like the pictures that were taken. So then I'm like, what are the Getty images going to look like? And like, did, you know, did the outfit actually look the way that I thought it looked like? Often I see photos and I'm like, is that really what it looked like? I didn't think that you just kind of spiral in that way too, which is really frustrating.
No, it's like sad. It's like
And
sad.
it is sad. Yeah, it is
sad
really
because
sad.
like it's a stupid picture, but like what's about to come out from that picture. So it's not a stupid picture.
And
it should be a stupid picture.
outlets, right, exactly. Outlets, I swear to God, choose the worst photos of you.
Yeah.
They go onto your Getty or they go onto like some random like candid photo that somebody got of you and they post the worst possible photo of you.
And shouldn't you get to choose that? Like, shouldn't you get to decide the photo?
Well, that would be
I know.
lovely.
I know.
Yeah.
Did you ever have body issues? Like, did you like?
Oh, 1,000%. Hey everyone, it's Sasha. Great conversations deserve the perfect pairing, like my new adult beverage, Hippie Water. It's a refreshing, non-alcoholic seltzer with 5 milligrams of Delta-9 THC and just 30 calories. Find it now at hippiewater.com and use discount code NUDEHIPPIES for 20% off. Or find it in Total Wine in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Hippie Water.
Did you ever have body issues? Like, did you like?
Oh, 1,000%. I don't think I really had any like eating disorders.
Okay.
But body dysmorphia, yes.
Do you think once you have body dysmorphia, you ever get rid of body dysmorphia?
I think it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I still have like I major tendencies. Yeah.
Yeah. No, same. That's why I things I think about all the time. I have anxiety, so I think about this stuff all the time. But like, I had anorexia for a very long time, but I'm like healthier now. But like, I don't know, like it's like an abusive, like
Or an addict.
An addict.
Yeah.
An addict. Where it's like, it can always come back. It's always there. And I don't know. That sucks, that part of it.
Absolutely. Like the thing that I like tend to, I do two things. I try and remind myself that like every woman fluctuates. What I have anxiety with is when my hormones are out of whack with PCOS. I don't go through those phases as bad anymore, but it used to be like I could gain, and I'm not kidding, I could gain 20 pounds in like a couple days.
Yep.
And you would see it like very visually. It wasn't just like, oh, my pants feel a little tighter. It's like my whole body looked different. And so I have anxiety in that way. Like, oh, I'm really stressed today. Is like something going to happen? Or I'm like, oh, I wake up and I feel really bloated. And so it's either like I try and focus on the fact that like this happens to everyone.
Yeah, but the difference is everyone doesn't have to go to an event that night
Well,
and be photographed and it put online.
That especially. But also it's like how much of this is in my head and how much of this is like actually happening.
But you know what I realize? It doesn't matter that because if it's in your head and you're feeling it.
Yeah, it's still valid, right? You're still feeling all of the same feelings.
I can sit here and tell you how beautiful you are, but if you don't feel that way,
it doesn't
matter.
And say like I have the most supportive partner on the planet. Like Hudson he does like all of the right things. You know what I mean?
And
like,
that helps. Don't get me wrong, that
definitely
helps.
But pretty much same thing, right? Yeah. Like if I don't believe it or I'm not feeling good about myself that day, like he's a sweetheart and he makes me feel better to a degree, but I don't feel any less bloated.
Right. Right.
I still don't think that outfit looks cute.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm fitting into the same pants as I did yesterday. They're closing the same way. This is in your head.
I know.
You know, and so it's like trying to always like keep yourself on check, rationalize what's happening. So yes. Yeah. Answer is yes, for sure.
Ugh. I don't miss that. Like, I don't miss it. That part of that at all. Like,
yeah.
I still have those issues and I still post some videos sometimes, like, and I still go through all of those same things, but I don't have to go to the events and I don't have to go to the auditions and it's kind of a little bit more on my own timing now, even though I still have all those issues and I wish I didn't and I'm still working through them. I don't have to do those things. Whereas like people could say you don't have to go to that event, but like you kind of do need to be seen and out of sight, out of mind in the industry. I was in it for 15 years. Like the more present you are, the more people you're on people's minds and the job comes up and you're there. And it's like, it's hard.
It's funny you say that because yes, I completely agree. My evolution in my career on like the social side is actually very interesting because my parents, and I'm glad that they did this, but my parents never let me like go to the Hollywood parties and like do all of those things. Like all of my friends were not in the industry. And so even through like PLL, like I wasn't going to all of the things.
Wow.
And then I, as an adult, started we started moving around. That spinoff was in Portland. I lived in Colorado. We lived in Tennessee. And
After?
It's like,
Wow.
And so that out of sight, out of mind, you know, especially post-COVID, it's like, well, everything is remote. You're doing all these self-tapes and whatever anyway. Like you can live wherever you want, which is true.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because that out of sight, out of mind thing is very real.
Yes.
And since I've been back in LA, lots of opportunities have come my way. I've met so many cool people and like it's stemmed in, you know, that's, you know, opened other doors. But what I'm realizing is, which gives me the event anxiety as well, is there are so many people that have been in the industry the same amount of time as me that have been rubbing the same shoulders for all of those years. And then I get to that party, and even though I've been in the industry for the same amount of time, I'm in a weird way the new kid on the block.
That's so crazy.
So I'm both like, people kind of know who I am, but also like don't know me on an acquaintance level or a friend level like they do the other person or the other people. So you are that like, do you see somebody you know, you latch onto them as fast as possible. Yeah. Because that is what it is. And I think this is also just a money thing, but there are so many events that are not allowing people to have +1s or people to bring their representation.
Which is crazy.
Crazy to me.
Allow a +1. Allow me to bring a +1.
I will be a better person at your event. I will showcase your brand better. I will do a lot of things better if I feel comfortable at your event.
Yes. Or
if I have my publicist at your event. I don't care if they annoy you. I mean, I have a good one that does not do that. But like I don't really care. You're going to get a better result.
Well, it's also like the more you make people feel seen, heard, comfortable, calm in their own skin, the more they want to post, the more they want to stay.
The longer they'll stay.
The longer they want to stay, the longer like your events but like tell someone to go to something by themselves around a whole bunch of people that like you have to be put on. That's the other thing. If it was like a party where I know my friends are going to be there.
Totally different.
Great. But like when I have to be on and put on and it's like, it is draining. And you don't even have one person to be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I go to the bathroom a lot.
The bathroom, we're back there, full circle.
I take those bathroom breaks. Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd thing.
They can be fun.
Totally.
Like I've been to things that can be fun, but it's the right circumstances with the right people and them handling the event right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a weird thing because you think like after school, like high school, you're going to hang out with your friends, you're going to go to work. Like you kind of, most people have a very structured life, whereas like you're in the industry, you're like, you are just thrown around in different things and it's...
Yeah. And all of my friends that are not in the industry have that set life and our schedules are so opposite. Yeah. And then you start having kids and that like timeline, you get, you know, your schedules get booked up in other ways. And so that's another thing is that Hudson often can't come to anything with me because of, you know, of Hendrix. It's like trying to find a babysitter all the time is
hard.
It's hard. So yeah, there's just, you know, it's
a lot to
funky.
it. You and Lucy just need to like
I know, we need to band together. I know. And it's been awesome. She's had so much work. She's been traveling all over the place. And I'm so happy for her. So it's like I don't want her to not do that.
And that's the other
also,
hard
where's
thing.
my buddy?
Yeah, literally. Like we like grow friendships and like you stay friends. Obviously we have phones and whatever, but like even like Lucy being gone or like I haven't seen you in a little bit and it's like you're here and then you're gone and then you shoot something and you come back and you have to go promote it and I'm like, no, just stay.
That is also a very LA thing, right? Yeah. That part, that's difficult and
that's weird living in the city because you find your people, and then all of a sudden it's shaken up all the time.
Yeah.
Which is cool for everybody, but it's also most people have their home base. And in LA, you have a home base, but a lot of the home base isn't here all the time.
And that is also hard for your mental health because, you know, it's when your circle changes like that all the time. Yes, you have a phone, but it's not the same.
No.
And everybody has a really busy life.
Yes.
You know, like I would never expect Lucy to respond to me all the time because she's on set.
I do. I'm just kidding.
And she would never do that with me because I have a child and we're also bouncing around. But it's just a different life that is honestly hard to explain to a lot of people that haven't dealt with it.
I find it hard to explain to myself sometimes. I'm like, Like
Right.
it's the same thing, but like being like gentle with yourself, being like, it's okay to feel lonely or whatever right now, or to feel like you do have friends. You do. And it's like, I'm in my 30s and still can't wrap my
telling
head.
yourself that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can someone that's never experienced any of this understand it?
Right.
But in general, we should just have more compassion for humans.
Yes. Agreed.
So, yeah, that's wild.
What is like the most surprising thing about like being in LA and being around people that are in the public eye? Like what is there anything that was like, that's interesting. I never thought I would be in that, like that somebody would be that way. I don't know. I'm not asking.
Yeah, no,
no,
I totally know what you mean. I'm trying to think if there's anything surprising. I mean, we all know the glitz, the glamour, people care about all of that. That's not surprising. And not everyone does, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I dress like this every day. I don't care.
And it's adorable. And I'm always like, where'd you get that? I want that. Well, aloe.
Well, yeah. But no, but like I've never cared about that. So like, that's like, I think the most surprising thing is that everyone is like the same at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like even the people that are mean or you hear things about, like, I know, like, not every human. I would say 95% of humans, 90% of humans, like, we're all literally the same.
Yeah.
And that's the most surprising thing is, like, when you get someone in a safe environment and can break down people's walls, and not even on purpose.
Yeah.
You realize that, like, we all want the same things. We all are the same, and we all feel the same way. And, like, that's the most surprising thing about it. And I think that's the coolest thing in the world. But, like, and that's not me, like, that is the most surprising thing.
Yeah.
Is I sit in a room with people with 50 million followers, with 100 followers, with it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And nothing feels different. It all feels like we're all scared. We're all lonely. We all want to be seen. We all want conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's the most surprising part is like we all feel insecure about the post we just made. Like we think people don't. Like everybody feels the same way. And it's like, I think if we all just knew that, we'd be gentler with each other.
Yeah, I agree. And it, like you're saying, especially isolated, like one-on-one or a small group of people, everybody I feel like acts different no matter who you are.
Yes.
There was one of the days that I went to see you. The like big security doors were closed. And I was like, I can't get in. I can't drive in. I was like, wait, what's happening? This has never happened before.
Early mornings.
And a security guy came out and was like, there's a special guest today. And I was like, oh, okay. He let me in and whatever. I was like, special guest. There's like most people are like somebody at Aloe. So I'm like,
guest.
Who's a special guest at Aloe? It must be something like really important. And I won't say who it is. But I inevitably saw who it was. And there was just like so many question marks around it because you hear so many things about so many people, specifically this person, being very kosher here.
Yeah.
And I ended up having like a 20-minute conversation with them, and they were lovely. And it is one of those things where I think it's like if you treat people like a person, most of the time they behave well. Yeah, because they want to be seen for not everything else, but just and also like
what
they are in that moment.
People, and this is not even job wise. This is like more so when I was on sets. Like people act up when they're in fear.
Yeah,
or when they are insecure.
Yes,
and so it's like not all the time. Like there are people that are just mean to be like, and they shouldn't be. But like most of the time, it's like that's not coming from it's coming from an insecurity where it's like,
or things that they feel like they can't control. Like when you're in an environment where you feel like you can't control and you feel like something bad might happen because
I know I've woken up on days where I had to be somewhere and I like felt fat and I had to be in like a leotard or this or that, and like whether I was or not, I felt that way and I showed up and was probably grumpy and upset and angry, and someone probably left that day and was like, she's awful. She's awful to be. But it's true.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And like they might have experienced the worst side of me because I felt horrible about myself that day.
Yeah. It wasn't targeted against them. Yeah.
And anxiety shows up and then you act. And so like I really try in life to be like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And then to like show up and have that conversation is so special, and you leave and you're like, whoa, like.
Well, because what happened, I could very easily have just very easily have just completely avoided that person and not even like said 2 words.
And that's
or
the
like,
easiest thing to do in life.
Right. And kept the same opinion that somebody had told me about that person alive. But instead it was like,
let me have my own opinion.
Let me have my own opinion. Let me gather, my own thoughts on the matter. And I think that's very important. Shit, I was going to say something. What was it?
Sorry.
No. Oh, I was just going to say, I think this often happens with bullies.
Yes.
Is it doesn't excuse behavior.
I agree.
But it's always like, I mean, not to put bullies and serial killers in the same boat because, it's an extreme.
Yeah.
But I just mean like, every type of bully or like an abuser or a serial killer, whatever they are, their behavior, good or bad, stems from something.
Yeah.
Stems from some sort of trauma, stems from something that somebody did to them.
The difference is you can't tell a 5 or 6-year-old that like you can, but they don't get it.
It's that doesn't sink in. And it's like you either repeat it or you break it, and
hopefully you break it.
But yeah,
that's why I think if like I don't know. I mean, obviously we all say this, but if we just handled way more things with love and kindness, I think that most people would break it.
Yeah.
But instead we get defensive and then we get scared and then we don't want then we feel hurt and then it's like.
Well, just in general, and it's hard not to. So I'm not saying that like this is an easy thing, but like it's so easy to like take things personally.
I take everything personally.
It's hard not to.
I take everything in life.
Your first thought is like, like either what did I do wrong or
did I say something? Did I do something?
Yeah.
Was I compassionate enough? Like, did I anger them?
Did I do something to piss them off? Or like, or just feel like in general it's targeted at me for some reason. It's hard to not.
Yeah. But if you think about every time that you were not your best self to someone, it's always back to something that happened to you that had nothing to do with the other person.
Nothing to do with them, yeah.
My favorite book, one of my favorite books that I try to read once a year is the four agreements. The 4 agreements.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have not read that.
You need to read it. And one of them is how people treat you has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And if we understood these things in life, like we could let people go on their way and like not excuse behavior. Nothing. I will never make an excuse for someone being mean to someone else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I spiral every day. So like I need to read this book a lot. But we would stop like the spiral of like, what did I do? Yeah. It's like, and here's the thing. If I did do something, just talk to me. Just be like,
right.
Hey, like that upset me. Be like, I don't mean to upset you. So like, I'm going to say sorry and we're going to figure it out.
Or you might not have even realized you did something. Yeah.
So I think, but I'm happy you had that moment. Like that makes those things make me so happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think those are necessary to have so that you remind yourself that like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Hopefully most people are good or want to be good.
Exactly.
I hope.
Hopefully, most people are inherently good at the very least. But like those set moments where I've had plenty of them where I'm just like,
I can't be in a t-shirt today and I want to be.
You get forced into positions that suck, or you just don't understand why people act a certain way. It's just so unfortunate. But there was something that made them feel that way.
They should have a therapist on every set.
That would be so great.
Honestly, they should though. Like, why is that not a requirement yet? Like, to be honest, you are putting people in front of millions to be like scrutinized. You're on sets all the time. Like, you have to do all these things like that aren't necessarily quote unquote normal.
Yeah. Or
be put in psychological things. Like, have a therapist there.
I think that would be really great for any job. Like corporate jobs. Agreed. As well, right? Yeah. But yes, of course. Like
Agreed.
Ours is,
I would love.
It would be really nice to have a therapist on set.
Yeah.
Just like we have an intimacy coordinator, like having a therapy. That would
hey, you
really,
feel like you're
really
going
great.
through something, you want to talk it out today. Like just having an unbiased person to talk to be like, well, I let that out today.
Right.
Because not everyone's awake at 4 a.m. for you.
Right. And also to have that level of like somebody that is not biased to the situation would be super helpful. Because if something is not right and like your producer said something really awful or another actor did something terrible or whatever, it'd be nice to just, with no consequences, talk to somebody about it.
And sometimes
not somebody that's going to go and like repeat it somewhere else. Like
there's no drama behind it.
There's no drama behind it. Then it's like, you know, I can't believe this happened. I'm so mad that this happened, or I'm so upset this or something, from back home happened, and here we are. This is why I'm upset. And I'm sure it would release a lot of like tension or drama on set, or just in general solve solid issues.
I am a hardcore
I'm going to start advocating for
Yeah.
that. That's really cool.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially like from what I mean, I've only jumped in on a set here and there with dancing, but like especially in the series, because you guys are together. It's like a forced friendship family relationship.
Yeah.
A movie's like what? Sometimes like 3 months of whatever. And it's more like a honeymoon.
I mean, it can be anywhere from like, a month to 6 months, unless it's like,
and that you can like kind of deal with people, but like 8 years.
Like you're looking at the finish line or like the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're really having a bad time, it's coming to an end. But yeah, the TV show thing is different. And like PLL, we were very lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of estrogen on set.
And
we
also,
were growing
like,
up together.
You fight with your family. You're going to fight with like each other eventually over anything. So,
and compared to a lot of other shows,
Yeah.
we had it very good.
Yeah.
But it would have been great to have a.
I mean, I'm just saying, if anyone in the industry is listening, it would not be.
So I mean, I want to produce and like do my own stuff, which I've started doing. But like that is a good thing if I have the budget for it. Okay, one last question because we need to wrap up. How is your skin so like magical?
Okay, I read this question because like you had like, and I was like,
here's some examples.
And I literally wanted to cry. I think I have dysmorphia, but no, people have been asking me this and it's so nice. Like, let me be so honest. When I was younger, I did not take care of my skin.
I'm terrible at it. Yeah.
I like barely washed my face when I was younger. Like, and I didn't wear really sunscreen. Like, we weren't really taught these things.
No.
I started doing like this Korean skincare. There's this girl on TikTok. Her name's Ashley something. I'll post about it but she's so many girls, and I love them. They're stunning, but in their 20s are sitting there like with flawless skin telling us what to do. And I'm like, I'm not in my 20s.
Yeah, your hormones haven't necessarily fluctuated. Every decade something changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I found this girl, and she was in her 40s, and she's like, I stopped doing Botox 6 years ago, and this is what I do. And so I started doing her routine a year and a half ago, and I use like 7 toners. Insane.
I mean, if it works.
It works, I think. And then I use a serum, and then I use the snail mucin.
Okay. Yes.
Love the snail mucin. And then, this is so bad, I use Nivea as my moisturizer.
What's wrong with that? I mean, like this is a great thing for people to like. You don't have to. Yeah, I was going to say you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars.
All the toners are like 10 to 15, $20 at most.
That is really cool.
It's really cool. I started doing red light therapy, like a face mask.
Yes.
And then I just started like taking care of my skin. Like, we're lucky in LA. So like I don't do filler. I try not to do Botox. But I did start doing like the microneedling and like the lasers, and not too often. Like, you want to find that sweet spot, but I started to be like, I care. Like, and I don't love makeup. So
I try and not put makeup on when I can because
you guys especially.
Yeah. But
that's what I do.
That's amazing.
I try to do less and like
less is more.
Less is
often,
more,
right?
Less is more, and also like going back to basics. Like, there's so many products out there, and when it comes to makeup, like I love my Dior, I love my like fancy makeup, but like when it comes to skincare, like granted, all these brands have amazing skincare, but I went back to like basics.
Yeah,
and like Koreans know their skincare.
They absolutely do.
So like go to those products and like.
My best friend is going to Korea to visit her brother who's in the military. And she's like, do you want me to bring anything back? And she's like, I'm bringing skincare back. I was like, yes, please.
All the things, please.
Whatever looks interesting, bring it back for me.
They're good. And they also eat right. Like, I went to a Korean just like to get a normal facial. And I looked at this guy and I was like, how old are you? And he literally, I want to say looked like 18, maybe 20. And he was like, I'm 40. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, we just eat like the sauerkraut and the kimchi. Like, we eat pro and prebiotic foods and like that are gut healthy. And I'm like, I really do think it's inside out. Like, I think it's from our insides. I don't drink.
Yeah, that helps.
I don't drink a lot of water, but I'm trying to drink more.
Do you see how chapped my lips are? My lips are so
Me too. I literally forgot to put a chapstick on. I was like, whatever.
I'm not drinking enough water, so but yeah.
Yeah, both of us need to drink more water. But
yeah.
I mean, you're stunning.
I have not done Botox yet, and I'm not saying that I won't because there are definite things.
You don't need to.
My biggest thing with like the way that women feel like they can't age, I hate that concept and that we feel pressured in that way. But what I firmly believe is like there's nothing wrong with being the best version of yourself.
Agreed.
Cindy
I think
Crawford
sometimes we go a little above in LA with some
absolutely
of
we do. Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying like I don't, and no judgment on anyone, because I think if you're happy in your own skin, not hurting anyone else, do what you want.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do the filler. I don't want to do the Botox.
It scares me.
And
I know
but I also want to age well.
Well, so that's kind of my point.
I want to find a husband, so
anybody would be so lucky to have you.
You're sweet.
But I am serious. But yeah, it really is that like balance of like, it's also okay to want to look your best.
It's okay to want to look your best.
There's a balance there.
Be healthy.
Yes.
Just be healthy with like,
and
eat good, but
cautious
it's okay.
about like, who you're going to. And yeah.
I mean, if you're doing like the surgery route and the Botox,
scary.
like please do
your research. Yeah.
The facial stuff, yes, do your research and go to people that are doctors and like know what they're doing. But luckily it's there's been lasers and stuff that have gone wrong, but it's a little less scary, I think. I don't know. But I definitely am very particular when I do things and to ask all the questions and go online and do all the research and And you know what's right for your skin. Like I love a laser. I love that stuff.
The other thing is that they're all so expensive, and not everything, needs to be. There are definitely things that are like you can get the same thing.
Agreed.
Like the toners, like the that are
do the maintenance.
Are not might not be the biggest known brand, but are going to do the exact same thing.
But also like if you want to start anywhere and you don't have money, eat healthy and then buy like a toner or two and the moisturizer and like just start there. And then the sunscreen. I wear sunscreen now.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's like you don't need to go get the laser if you're not doing the home stuff because So you don't need to do all the other stuff, but it get everything. So
but I do want to try it. I do really want to try. I've never done any of like the laser. I've done the microblading, microneedling and the like dermabrasion or the dermablading. I know that
I'm going to send you some stuff
good.
that.
Oh, please do.
But it's like, again, it's like whatever. It's where you want to spend your money.
Issue is, and I understand the tendency because of course there's also this like, I haven't had anything done.
I know.
Like thing that we do. And especially with like women in the industry, I understand, but it's also doing such a disservice to other women out there. It's like there are a couple of really funny like Instagram, TikTok girls that are like, a guy came up to me the other day and were like, wow, you're just so naturally beautiful. And then they go through the list of everything that they've had done.
And you're like,
everything it costs.
Boys are delusional, let's be honest.
For sure. But they might also turn around to like a girl and be like, oh yeah, no, I haven't had anything done. This is just all natural. And you're like, then it just makes other people feel so terrible about themselves. You know what I mean?
I think we all do stuff. Like whether it's microneedling, to whatever facials, to whatever degree. But like, and here's the thing, just don't say anything at all. If you've done something you don't want to say it, that's your right. But don't
absolutely.
Say
you don't
haven't
have
done
to say anything.
Yeah.
But don't like.
No, because we are doing a disservice. And also like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you want to go do something or don't. But like, my thing is more so with young girls. Yeah. Like, because I used to look in the magazines at girls. And if they said they went on a walk to get like skinny, I would go on a walk. So it's like, let's not lie to the younger generation. Like, because they don't understand and they're going to follow what you do. And that breaks my heart. Yeah. My thing is just be healthy and have balance in life and enjoy it. Like we're all here. We're in these bodies. Like enjoy life and be healthy.
Agree.
Like,
Completely agree. Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's also so much out there now. So many different things and crazy things that you can do. And it's
but also
so
like
wild
beauty
west.
is one of those things that it's full circle moment. Exactly what you're talking about. If you feel beautiful, you are beautiful to others. Yeah. And the second you feel ugly, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So like confidence is hands down the number one thing you need. And then do all the other stuff that you want to do. But like just know that like you're a beautiful human if you do well in life, like for others and you do goodness and you're kind. And if you project that, people want to be around you. And then
so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really believe that because
I do too.
Yeah. I love you.
I could talk to you for hours.
I know.
I love you so much. Thank you for coming on the show and talking about anything and everything. I love you. I so appreciate you. And until next time. Thank you, Pepper.
you.